It's like creosote. It's
He's been charged with burglary, aggravated battery, damaging property, and assault.
Okay.
Today's phone.
I'm having some legal issues, so don't worry about that.
Hi, I'm Len Necefer. I'm half Navajo, I'm half Scottish-Romanian, with a PhD in engineering. And it's as confusing as it sounds. I used to work in government and academia, thinking I was saving the world. Turns out I was just wasting red tape, so I quit. Now, I'm pedaling up the Colorado River, the West's dwindling lifeline. Why? Because in 2026, after a century of mismanagement, stakeholders will renegotiate its future. This could be the river's last chance. So saddle up and join me. We're going to get uncomfortably close to the muddy reality.
So this is our fourth day of riding. We saw the river briefly in Mexico where it meets the Morelos Dam, but we haven't been on the river at all. Like the natural flow of the river, we actually haven't hit that. We'll get to see a huge chunk of the infrastructure that contains the flow of the river and moves the water to major cities in the Southwest.
We're headed northeast on a scorching yet stunning 56-mile ride through the Mojave along a section of the Colorado Aqueduct. This concrete serpent slivers 242 miles through the desert, gulping down over 1.5 million acre-feet of water each year. To put that in perspective, 1 acre-foot is about 326,000 gallons, or enough water to supply 2 households for a year. Built during the Great Depression, this engineering masterpiece doesn't just move water, but it lifts it higher than the Empire State Building over mountain ranges. It's part plumbing, part God complex, and entirely essential to millions who've probably never given a second thought. This is a hidden backbone of the American Southwest, and in this episode, we're taking a look at some of the infrastructure on this river and how that interacts with the natural landscape.
Every water user on this river thinks that their use is important and that others are less so. And this aqueduct feeds LA. I'm sure a lot of folks in LA don't realize that some of them are drinking Colorado River water. Or in the case of the Imperial Valley, some of that water from those canals are going to San Diego. And where we're going to Parker Dam, there's another straw that gets put in there called the Central Arizona Project, which is a huge pipeline that moves water to Phoenix and Tucson. And for me, that's my water source. We're going out down Topock Gorge, which is just north of Lake Havasu. And yeah, we're going with some friends from Lake Havasu that are working on conservation, friends of Bill Williams Conservation. And we're gonna be checking out the wildlife. We've already seen some pelicans already, so yeah, it'll be pretty exciting to see what's out here. After seeing all the infrastructure for the past days, it'll be nice to actually touch grass and touch water a little bit.
It's a beautiful morning on the Colorado River.
We're on a 12-mile kayak downstream through Topock Gorge, a wilderness area that drains the Colorado into Lake Havasu, the smallest of the Colorado River reservoirs, but arguably the most important. I had Havasu local and wildlife photographer John West guide me through his favorite stretch of the river.
It's a beautiful part of the world to live in. I've been along most of the river myself, and it's in my heart, it's special. Oh yeah, they want a handout. Yeah, there must be the locals. This used to be called Mojave Canyon way back before the dams were put in here.
And why is this area significant for wildlife?
This is part of the Colorado River Flyway, and we have annual bird counts that we do up and down the river here. And we have about 355 species of birds identified coming through here. You know, many ducks and geese and swan and pelican, and have raptors. We've got desert bighorn sheep up and down the river here. It's a special place. There's just a magic about it.
Topock Gorge is more than just a canyon. It's a vital artery in the ecological circulatory system of the American West. Cutting through the harsh Mojave Desert, it forms a rare riparian oasis that serves as a crucial migratory highway for countless species. It's nature's version of a bustling interstate.
When you come out here to Lake Havasu and take a look at the lake level is not dropped like the other lakes have. And so I would bet the vast majority of people up and down this valley are not aware of the plight of the lack of water, the importance, because the visual is that the lake level is normal.
Lake Havasu, unlike its larger cousins, maintains a steady level. Since 2000, it's fluctuated only 5 feet. Meanwhile, just upstream, Lake Mead has plummeted 170 feet, hitting record lows in 2022. This is due to the enormous infrastructure that facilitates California and Arizona draining their share of water from the river. If its levels fall more than 5 feet, one of these huge straws will suck air. If it goes too high, it will clog the other straw with debris. Both of these will cut off water supplies to over 25 million people. That's roughly 1 in 13 Americans relying on this single reservoir.
I'm surprised sometimes at the number of people that do not know how much water is being pumped out of the Colorado River every single day by Parker Dam. Like Lake Havasu City has this growth mentality, and they are pushing to get as much growth as possible, because when we moved here it was like 50,000 people, and now they're trying to get to 99,000. If they get the magic number of 99,000, their water rights, they can get more water. And you're pushing to get more people, and yet you might get more water, but there's not more water coming into the river. It's just you're taking more water out. That's a warped way of looking at things, I think, to build so that you can get a bigger allocation.
Right.
Because of the number of people.
I don't know, the incentives and the way the law works, it just creates really strange behavior.
That's the challenge, is how do you convince somebody without, this is limited, this resource that you gotta take care of it, because when you grow up in a city, you have no concept of the big picture until you do go out and see those areas that have been drought-stricken and see the water levels drop, and it's out of sight, out of mind to most people.
Yeah, it seems like we've created these rivers in the middle of these deserts, and it's an incredible feat of engineering, and it's allowed for a lot of these cities to grow, and it's an infrastructure that I think now it's there. A lot of people depend on it, but it seems like in many ways we're kind of inching closer and closer to the point where it could break the systems.
Like many desert cities, Lake Havasu City relies almost solely on Colorado River water. As the river shrinks, their solution is paradoxical: grow bigger to get more water. They're not expanding for prosperity, but out of a fear of losing access in the future. This is a backwards logic born from outdated laws. It isn't just exposing flaws in the system, it's actively making the water crisis worse. If this is the famous Lake Havasu, where are all the bright red, sunburnt spring breakers and their houseboats and water skis? Wait for it. Wait for it. I found myself wondering where they fit in this complex tapestry of water use and abuse. It was time to get some answers.
We're having a beer now.
Bad days out here.
There's no bad days out here, huh?
You may start out bad,
Some days
may
are
end bad,
windy,
but it's never a bad day.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So how long have you, so you've been coming out here quite a lot. Have you seen, have you heard about the things about the Colorado River on the news or anything like that?
No. I can tell you some facts about London Bridge.
I'd love to hear them.
Yes, you did hear that correct. He said London, as in miserable weather, mushy peas, London.
So the bridge was, now, what I believe, but the bridge started being built in 1968. It was completed in 1971, so it took 3 years to complete the bridge. And they transported it all from France, brought it on a barge all the way around to California, and I guess shipped it in here through the Colorado River, I think. So, and then it's built over there. But
That's the real London Bridge. I thought it
it's
was a
the
joke.
real London Bridge.
Oh,
So
wow.
London Bridge is falling down?
Yeah.
The song?
Yeah.
Boom. Right there. It's
That's
not
that one.
falling down.
He's not pulling your leg. Lake Havasu City really did import the actual London Bridge from England, not France, and plonked it down in the middle of town. But what about the water crisis?
So we were down in Mexico and we went to like the end of the Colorado River. Have you all heard about like the river doesn't go all the way to the ocean anymore?
Yep.
Yeah, you've heard about it. What have you heard?
I've just heard that it slowed down and kind of went underground.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We just like went down there, rode some bikes, hung out with some Mexican homies, and
Nice.
drank some beers.
Hell yeah. Had a good time. That's all you do.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I must admit, gazing out at the pristine, shimmering waters, crisis isn't exactly the first word that springs to mind. With my supply of beer dwindling faster than the Colorado River, I decided to mingle with another group of boat enthusiasts. After all, nothing bridges cultural divides quite like lukewarm beer.
Take all my friends and family.
So what does a typical boating day look for you all? Like what time you get started? And
Depends how hungover we are, to be honest.
so like,
I mean, we usually all meet up like breakfast and stuff like that, and we're usually out by noon.
oh, nice. Have you seen how low the levels on Lake Mead and Lake Powell have been?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Have you heard about it, or I don't know?
Yeah, we've heard about it. I heard the levels went up though.
Yeah.
After a while, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's all dam control though, isn't it? It's like, to me, it seems like a lot of political motivation on certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's hyped up, maybe not. I think Lake Havasu is safe from anything.
Our brief encounters with the boating community revealed a different side of this water conversation. There's a noticeable disconnect here. Not from lack of concern, but from a different perspective on the water's role. To them, this lake is an oasis, a playground, not a visible part of the struggling ecosystem. It's not like they don't care. They simply haven't been exposed to the broader narrative. And why would they be? From here, the crisis isn't apparent. It was time to pedal on, but not without a slight detour. Our route takes us on some amazing gravel back roads through the newest crown jewel in America's national monuments, Avikame. And it also gave us a chance to ponder what this river basin looked like thousands of years ago.
We're in the Mojave Desert right now, on our way to look at some of the history of peoples that have lived here for, they'll say, since time immemorial.
We found ourselves face to face with enigmatic messages etched by ancient hands. The Mojave Twins, while their exact meaning remains a mystery, stand as a 3,000-year-old testament to human presence in this unforgiving landscape. I wonder what the creators of these ancient markings would think of our modern relationship with the river.
So this area is like a part of a new national monument called Avikame, and it's a tribally co-managed monument. This monument was one of the first after Bears Ears to be designated to be co-managed with the tribes in this area and then also the federal government. So yeah, incredibly important place, and it's good that Native folks have a say in how it's managed. It's a depiction of bighorn sheep, probably. We have very similar depictions further up north in the area that I grew up and where I'm from, and they look very similar. But I know where we have them, generally they're places where you can hunt them or where the bighorn sheep pass through. Yeah, it's like interesting to think that people were leaving, in many ways, messages for those that came after us, and we just don't know what it is. And I've always kind of wondered, what are they telling us? I don't want to say it's the old school social media, but sometimes it can serve that role. I don't know if they were doing it for the likes, but it could have been. You know, they really had a big score that day and wanted to let the homies know. What if the OG social media network was called Glyph? Yo, homeboy was glyphing. He was calling me out.
Just making memes.
Yeah, just some glyph memes. Having some beef on the glyph. Yeah, don't believe what you see in the glyphs about me. I don't do that.
Folks, we aren't in Vegas yet, but the show has already begun. Behold, the Hoover Dam, the Bureau of Reclamation's crown jewel. It's in dramatic contrast to the ancient petroglyphs we just witnessed. Perhaps centuries from now, archaeologists will puzzle over both, trying to understand two very different approaches to life in the desert. But for now, we try to understand its present role in a rapidly changing ecosystem.
We have permission to film here, but we reached out to the Bureau of Rec, and they were initially willing to give us an interview, and they said, send us your list of questions. So we had 4 questions we asked them. A few were about the operations of the dam, what happens, and then we decided to send them a 4th one, which was about the environmental impacts of the dam and the Bureau of Reclamation's plans for managing sediment. And we think that might have been a bridge too far, so to speak. After we sent that list of questions, they basically said, nope, no more interview, you're on your own. So I'm not the Bureau of Reclamation, but I am your tour guide, and I will try my best to convey what they have publicly displayed here, which is really a lot of the narrative around this dam and many dams in this area is that it's made the desert green. It's allowed cities like Los Angeles to grow, to, Phoenix, and downstream of where we're at. So behind me, there's a giant ring of rock that's been bleached from the water, and the highest point of that bleaching is signifying where the dam was at its highest point. I think right now the dam is somewhere around 32 to 33% full, but we're still looking at basically this place is not going to be full, and it hasn't been anywhere near full since at least the early 2000s. The scale of this dam is really impressive, and it's still standing close to 100 years later, which is pretty crazy to be able to construct something like that that can stand the test of time.
In many ways, this dam reflects the prevailing view of humanity's relationship with nature that drove such constructions in the 20th century. The Colorado River was treated like an irrigation canal, with the natural beauty and ecosystem secondary to this purpose. Having studied policy, I've learned that there's never a perfect solution, only trade-offs. We must understand what society and decision makers are willing to compromise on and where they draw the line. In the centuries since this dam was built, these considerations have definitely changed. Today, we have a much deeper understanding of our environmental impacts. However, we must recognize that knowledge is still limited. 100 years from now, people will look back at our current river management practices with a very different view than we do now. We need to protect the current best practices whilst not impacting future understanding.
I guess you can do this stuff if you save enough water, right?
In our next episode, we're rolling into Las Vegas, the glittering oasis known for excess. But Sin City is about to show us it can be downright saintly when it comes to water efficiency.
You see the extent to which the casinos are taking water seriously. And I think it makes you feel this sense of like, oh, like we're all just like doing our best here.
I'm scared, bro.